Hello, this is Carry Our Tech with Wicked Signal. Today's video is nothing more than an update on the SPY, or the Spider S&P 500 ETF, symbol SPY. The SPY is the most actively traded ETF. I actually think it's the most actively traded stock entity in the world. It is highly correlated with the S&P 500. So if you don't trade the SPY, and it's a very tradable instrument, it's at least worth watching its signals or being cognizant of its broad-based buy and sell signals, because your portfolio is likely to be influenced, obviously, by the activity of the S&P 500 in general. Before I jump into updating you on the SPY charts, I just need to tell you about Wicked Signal itself and to remind you to please share wickedsignal.com with your investor and trading friends. Tell them to go to the free subscription, a button at the top to fill out their first, last name, email address, of course, and you will be the recipient of every single new video that's put out. I will not, sell you on extra products. You won't be put into a vicious email sales funnel, and I don't share your information with anyone outside the organization. So it's all kept in-house. So let's jump to the SPY charts. By the way, I've recorded this on Thursday, November 26th. Yes, Thanksgiving Day morning. I just thought it'd be important to just keep you abreast of what's going on in this entity, because it will influence other stocks that we're also watching. You can see, of course, we have this channel top at this week, 365.47. Now, several weeks ago, the market did actually test that channel top, pushed through it by just about 3 ticks, I believe. I don't have that information in front of me, but I do know that it was a real test and that the market did push through it ever so slightly and backed off. And since then, we've been, hovering just below it. We've backed off ever so modestly, no follow through to the downside so far. And so I'm just giving you the updates on this channel structure this week, the week of Monday, November 23rd, 365.47, and 4 full weeks from now, it's at 367.71 the week of Monday, December 21st. Once again, as per usual, you can subtract these numbers out, divide by 4, and you'll have the exact location of that channel top for the next 4 weeks. And so it is a midterm ceiling, as I've said in the previous video. It can absorb buying perhaps through the rest of the year and into January, and from here we can fall back. I'll give you the support levels in just a moment. But if we were, and obviously, given the kind of continuous upward emphasis of the overall stock market over time, the probability suggests that we're going to get a settlement at some point above this formation. And if it happens on Friday, November 27th, which is the end of the week of this particular week, then the market has indicated bullish continuation into the low 400 area. And that could be, as I say, it could be 2 to 3 week incredible vertical move, or it could take several months, perhaps, depending on whether the market consolidates and backs off on the way up, and we get a series of rotations. It could take into January, February, certainly, before realizing the 405.42 to 418.88 areas. It depends on the timing, of course, but once again, I give you the 2 numbers 4 weeks apart, subtract them out, divide by 4, and you can know exactly where that channel top is at any time. I will say this: if we do get the settlement above 47, I would suggest that it be by at least a 1% margin for technical clarity. If it's at 365.80 or 90 or 366 and change, so forth and so on, it's by too close a margin, in my opinion, to be a reliable buy signal. I'm not saying that you can't act on that. It's just that I think the real clear green light would be a settlement Friday, 369.12 or higher. And that could actually happen, possibly. I don't know. I mean, the market's closed today. But if we do get a settlement Friday, 369.12 or higher, in other words, a 1% violation of 365.47, then yes, bullish continuation into that 405.42 to 418.88 area. I think by the time we reach it, it'll be that 418.88 number, and quite possibly into the 420s as we continue into late December and January trade. But that hasn't happened yet. And in fact, this market still remains susceptible to falling south. How far south? Well, I do have a zone of support. I'm going to say this is still in reach over the next 3 to 5 weeks, perhaps. What is now the week of Monday, November 23rd in the 319.17 to 324.85 area. It's a convergence of two channel formations, the channel base to the channel top of 365.47. That channel base is at 324.85 this week. And then you have a more meaningful ascending channel bottom that's projected off the March low this week at 319.17. That area actually is found at 327.10 to 330.70 the week of Monday, December 21st. So once again, you can subtract those numbers out, divide by 4, and you'll have the exact location of that area. That is a good bottom picking zone. And I emphasize it's one that can absorb selling really through the first quarter of 2021, take upward and push beyond these recent highs within a matter of several months or sooner. So that is a good zone, in my opinion, to buy into if given the opportunity, possibly well into 2021, because from there we could push on to new highs over the following months and possibly not look back. So there's that. In terms of a nearer term signal, that would tell us that, yeah, the market is certainly now poised for testing this lower area. I just need to emphasize that, the high so far from several weeks ago, that Pfizer report week, we'll call it, 364.38 was the high. We have not retested that high, although we've been coming, close to it, obviously, the last few weeks. And I want to emphasize that 364.38 high, as long as we're continuing to trade below that high and the market's not retested it, the low of that high, and this is just simple bar chart analysis, the low of that high is 350.51. So if the market were to close, I don't see that happening Friday. That would be quite a sell-off, but you never know. If we close Friday or the end of the week below 350.51, in other words, the low of the high so far, that in itself is a near-term sell signal, and I would say odds then favor bearish continuation over the next 2 to 3 weeks into that 319.17, 324.85 area, rising into the upper 320s, low 330s as we continue into the week of Monday, December 21st. But that hasn't happened. And so there's every reason to believe that we have an impending buy signal, not actionable, in my opinion, until or unless we settle above the 365.47 formation, which is the location of that channel the week of Monday, November 23rd, the week that I'm putting out this video. And once again, I recommend that settlement. Now, you can act on just a mere settlement above 365.47. I wouldn't get in the way of that or dissuade you, but just know that you've got a greater emphasis, a greater green light, if you will, by closing a full 1% beyond that margin of 369.12 or higher, a settlement Friday, November 27th. Or any Friday as we continue through time across that channel top, which I've already shown earlier in the video. I think that's about all that needs to be said for this particular wicked signal SPY video.